was going to give this whole, I wanted to talk about, so organizational healing would be the subject line for this. But I was on LinkedIn, and there's somebody I deeply respect who like headed an organization, and they're 790,000 employees globally. And they utilize the principle of looking at a business or a company or an organization like an entire system. And in my own work, I look at universal principles is what I call it. What are things that I can see anywhere, all over the world, in different environments? What's a universal principle? So to me, like the fact that water goes out and comes in, the sun rises and sets. Simple things like that, like up and down, in, out. One of them is in systems, when everything's functioning and healthy and working, the system works. And when the system breaks down, the ability to go into an environment and start to look at what's not working and what's not working as well as it could, what's working amazingly well. And the deeper you understand the why of it, the quicker you can get to elevation of performance. And I think when we look at organizations and companies, particularly as an entire ecosystem, how do we make it an optimal, thriving system? So that would be like the overall context. And so what I've explored is, most teams, they don't collapse overnight. It's not usually some house of cards that falls down in one spectacular upheaval. It's a slow, grinding process. So usually by the time, by the way, that you say, oh, it feels like it was overnight, it wasn't. You can usually track and measure that weeks, months, years down the line. So the reframe on this one, you rebuild and create through honesty, and you rebuild through consistency, and you rebuild through care, like watering a garden. Garden is a universal principle that I use all the time. It's a perfect example that if you find yourself all of a sudden in a system, so I use the garden in one of my writings, if the system of the garden is overrun, if things won't grow anymore, you gotta first put up a fence. That's the initial stop. So that's the stopgap. So I guess in a system, maybe like declaring that there's a problem. That's the fence. Then you can start pulling the weeds out and tilling the soil and kicking all the vermin that have been eating all your fruit and vegetables out. That could be obviously having conversations with personnel. That could be looking at, is there burnout, or is there expectation on people's hours that they're working? Is their workload too heavy? Is it not balanced? Is it not enough? Are the communication structures even present? Are people talking? All of these things kind of like triage. You're working through the system. And it'll let you start to look at, what's out of alignment. What do I need to restore? So, teams that avoid those hard conversations create calm that leaders mistake. That quietness they mistake for like security and calmness. And all it means now is your people just don't want to talk anymore. So how do you heal that organization? You got to get to the truth of the matter. So you got to create an environment where people can actually say what's going on. Because here's the deal. You'll either have the result that you want, or you'll have the reason, justification or rationalization of why you don't. And those two things in general, that's a universal throughout all my work. And I can work with either one. And that's kind of what's good about like shining a light and illuminating an environment. You come into this environment and you want to look at, how am I going to restore this and go from this chaos to order? How are we going to transform this from this confusion that you're having to clarity? How do we get from being overwhelmed to being grounded and centered? You kind of get dropped in, sort of like a smoke jumper. And then you look around, it's like, where are the fires that are already out? Where are the fires that have been raging so long that all you're left with is ash? So you have to not only just rebuild, you have to create and start over. So that's what I think the human-centric approach is invaluable. I think we're going to see time immemorial. Technology and all those things always really help as supplementary items, but a human's well-being as a true asset class is invaluable. The people, it's not even intangible, the people make the company. The company is just a word for a collection of individuals that create products. That product can be anything, and there's so many ways to talk about it. But it requires rigorous work. It requires intentionality. It requires awareness. And the teams and the groups and the companies that look at an entire system's well-being and are interested in the entire system operating well, not saying, well, like the arm is more important than the head, or, you know, quite literally, like my leg is more important than my finger. I need all of them. Each and every matters. And that was something that's been taught to me in leadership for decades. Don't treat people like a number, treat them as each and every. And what that meant was each and every person matters. Their presence, either that one person that's there or not there, alters the environment of the conversation. It is distinct and different. To do that honors the people. It honors the effort and the work that they give. So if you want to heal an organization, if it requires healing, you can first start with yourself, then you can look at the relationships you have with each other, then you can look at the group and how it's connected, how it affects the community at large, and then you can start to build from there at the industry that you're involved in, and then the society that it affects, and then at a global perspective. And each of those layers, as you're going to inspect it, you're really going to look at, you know, what's in alignment, what's out of alignment, where is there communication or no communication, where are people connected to reality or not, where are they freely self-expressed, where are they not, where are they doing what they said they would do, by when they said they would do it, where aren't they? And frankly, holding all of those things accountable. The more that everything is held accountable, the more and more it'll grow. The less and less, the more it'll decline. There's your formula.